Hey, Masters of Speed, and welcome to the Tier Maker with a Pokemon ad on the side. That's fine, don't
Blind
worry
Zombie
about
Games.
that. Blind Zombie Games, indeed. Someday consistent uploads, Copium. Anyway,
Copium indeed.
we have Curseof here, the only one who can be on the tier list videos with me. So welcome to another tier list video, Curseof. What's going on?
Not much, man. Just finished streaming, just playing more of this format. Just preparing myself for the tier list is what I was doing today.
Yes, obviously you were researching, making sure that the decisions we had made about the tier list previously were in fact correct. And
yes, and I've realized that we're missing Cyberdark, so we might need to restart the video.
You might need to restart the... Yeah, okay. I apologize to any Cyberdark or Ojama or any other Cope deck players out there. You know, Ancient Gear is very Cope. But we have enough Cope on here, I think, for one video. So yeah. let's start the coping. And all
right.
And why don't we start with the deck that we anticipated would be the best new deck? And in many ways it is, right?
It definitely is.
So where does this is a picture of Ben 10 for the uninformed. So where does Cyber Angels go? Would you say? Where'd you put them?
Cyber Angels are very, very strong, and a lot of people would like to throw them in that tier 2 category.
Yeah.
But we also have a lot of counters to Cyber Angels. A lot of counters to Cyber Angels. So I would argue tier 3, alas, Terramaster.
Me too. And the other issue is, as I'm going to drop it there, you have to realize that for a tier list, at least for the way we do it, it really matters how much the deck is played as well as how much it tops. And it was topping quite a bit recently, but not recently, earlier. But recently it hasn't. And it's being played less and less because of that as well. So it was tier 2, I would say, at the start of the format if we'd have done a tier list like 2 months ago. But at this point, it's really dropped off in tier 3.
And like, a big issue for CAs, right, is obviously Mind Crush, but more than that is, in my opinion, DD Warrior Lady. DD Warrior Lady just deals with your Izana like extremely easily, and it's main decked in almost every single deck of the format. And when everyone's main decking, the answer to literally your one play, you make one huge push, and if that push, doesn't work and you lose your Izana, you lose the duel.
Yeah,
it's a big issue.
It really is. Not to mention Floodgate Trap Hole, which most decks are on too.
Yeah,
so.
And everyone is expecting CA, so everyone is siding for it as well. So game 2, expect to be scared.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, we'll go from a expected to be meta to a expected to be and is anti-meta. This beautiful Cyber Dragon here represents spell-proof armor. So, considering it has very, very good matchups with the next two decks we're going to talk about, smooth transition. Where would you place spellproof armor there? Cyber Dragon wouldn't really include. All right.
I think it can, similarly to CAs, I think you can argue between tier 2 and tier 3. It's either bottom of tier 2 or like top of tier 3. But just because of its results as of recent, we're going to put it in tier 2.
Exactly. Yeah. It could have won the last Win-A-Box, the only one we've had so far complete in this format. It could have seen some good results in Toxic Legacy. Unfortunately, when you look at how the bracket shaped out, it didn't get to go against either of the next 2 decks we're going to talk about. And that is obviously...
And before we move on, I also want to mention too that the SPA lists that did top the most recent Win-A-Box are far from optimized. I mean, they were on... I think some of them were on no copies of Shockwave in the main deck, and then we also seen Blastsphere in the main deck. And
yeah, I think
very
Ryan
unoptimized.
Atlas, right? I think Ryan Atlas, who got top 2 with it, even admitted the Blastsphere was not a correct choice for the deck. So there you go. All right, so are we ready? Are we ready for the moment we've been dreading?
Yeah, let's throw it up here.
All right, well, I'm not even going to ask the question here. We all know where this belongs. If you don't, you're coping. All right, Moth is tier 1. It is the only tier 1 deck. It is the most played deck in every tournament. It is the most topping deck in every tournament. It wins the representation battle. it wins the topping battle. And the third thing, which is like just what me and you think the potential of the deck is, it obviously wins that as well, because tributing an opponent's monster to summon a 3500 monster of your own from deck, not hand, is absolutely still unfair. Not to mention you get a pot of greed, half of greed after that. So
yes, and I just let's just go ahead and talk about results here. Toxic Legacy Tournament 2 Moths top. We got top 8, top 4. Then we had the Speed Duel League, I think it was number 20. We had, I think, 2 top as well in that, correct?
Yes.
Top 4 and top 8 again?
Yes.
Then we had Toxic Legacy Tournament number 3. We had 2 top in that, top 4 and first place. We've also had it win both of the YCS Hartford side events. Moth is just, it's always consistently winning or getting multiple top cuts. It's literally never had less than 2 top cuts in like our like major events of the format.
In 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's the main problem I have with the deck. Anyway, we don't need to talk about Moth that much. It does the same thing it's always done. They just play DD Warrior Lady now. Whoa, what fun. Okay.
If anything, the DD Warrior Lady was like the mitigation to the nerf, because they don't need to normal summon. They just set DD Warrior Lady after they summon the Moth.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
great.
Yeah, so great print job there, Konami. You not only
Konami.
You not only countered pre-countered Cyber Angels, you pre-countered Dragoon, but you also said, "Hey, Moth, want to get stronger?"
Yep.
Clowns. All right. Anyway,
speaking of Warrior Lady.
Speaking of Warrior Lady. It also powered up this deck, along with other cards in the box, which is Burn. Nightmare Wheel obviously was going to represent the Burn deck. So, Burn deck, we know, is strong enough to not be in Rogue, but where would you put it?
Burn is tier 2, and it's above Spellproof.
Yep.
It's actually, the fact that it's above Spellproof is one of the reasons why Spellproof is tier 2, because both the decks that are the 2 highest decks is the reason Spellproof is where it is, because Spellproof is a hard counter to both these decks.
Yes, and
Burn, a hard counter to Burn, like a soft counter to Moth.
Yeah, and honestly, Spellproof is the reason Burn is actually tier 2. I think if Spellproof didn't exist, Burn is actually one of the best things you have against Moth. So
yes, guaranteed.
In that sense, that's kind of one of its best matchups as far as the meta goes, but then it also has really bad matchups, which is what Spellproof has won, and we'll talk about another one down the line. Is there anything else to say about Burn? No, right? It's just
looking into the future or digging for gold, depending on how you want to play the deck. Yeah. You play a bunch of traps, play books, play Rhoda, play Swordswoman, play Warrior Lady, Burn damage.
Yep. Most people side Exiled Force in case you need to out Jinzos, so there you go.
Yep. Warrior Lady of the Wasteland. It floats into Warrior. It floats into your Swordswoman. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's a toolbox Burn deck, which is just, you know, if just exactly Zoma was to get killed, which it should, then this deck would lose a lot of its power, which would be great for, I think, the fun of the game, which is like decks to play against. The top 3 decks, honestly, to play against are not a good experience.
Yep, not at all.
All right, here we go. This is actually a Dragoon Turbo, and it's represented by Plasma. Because Plasma
is just Terramaster's way of promoting his Twitch right now.
Probably. Plasma Emo tier 2, subscribe today. Link in the description below. Speaking of links in the description below, Curseof's YouTube will also be in the description below. Woo! Okay. All right, where are we putting Dragoon there?
It's below CA.
Yeah.
Dragoon has even more counters than Cyber Angels does. Still has the issue of everyone main decking DD Warrior Lady and a lot of people side decking D-Fusion.
Exactly. Yep. The only reason Dragoon even makes it here is because it topped a little early and it still gets a lot of representation. Right? So it's
a very fun deck. It's a fan favorite.
This is me having access to information not even you have, Copium. But Dragoon is getting a lot of representation to this day. So take with that to mean what you will. All right.
I think Dragoon can definitely be argued to potentially be a rogue deck, but
Yes, absolutely.
I think a little bit more testing needs to go into it. And another thing I want to mention too, another reason why Spellproof can actually drop down from tier 2 to tier 3 potentially is because both the tier 3 decks actually counter Spellproof.
Yes,
So,
yeah, Dragoon actually just killed Spellproof, which is okay.
yeah.
It does decently against burn because, you know, you can start to like counter burn them if you kind of get into that space. But it just depends on how your Dragoon deck is built at that point. All right.
Yeah.
Let's go to the winner.
Copium.
The winner of Winner Box number 20. It's Relinquished. And this is only included because it specifically got first place in that Winner Box event. So keeping that in mind, I think I know, and you know where we have to put this, right?
Yeah, I mean,
there's no way.
it's
There's no way.
It's top of Rogue. It's high Rogue, but it's Rogue.
It got one representation and one top.
That's all it needed.
Yeah. And then as far as that third category goes of what me and you think of the potential of the deck, is not very good.
It has some decent matchups versus the meta.
Right.
But also has some horrid matchups like Burn, for example.
Yeah, Burn
and
would wreck it.
Then it also has the one major issue of it bricks.
It really bricks. Really bricks really hard. You can draw your Faceless, which is a terrible card. You can draw like you're too many rituals.
Multiple ritual spells.
Crap. Yeah, it's terrible. Yeah.
If you guys want an in-depth discussion on Relinquish and why it's Rogue, though, Curseof Yugioh channel. That's a full like 20-ish minute video going over the first place deck list, all of its matchups. If you want an in-depth Relinquish, there you go.
You want some cope? There you go.
Want some cope?
Speaking of cope.
Oh no, Crystal Cope.
This deck is only represented here because of us, because it doesn't have the representation. It doesn't have the tops. It's only here because we think it has potential, but because of that, we have to throw it here. We have to throw it at the bottom.
I mean,
right?
I think Crystal Beast is unarguably a rogue deck. It doesn't have the representation to get any results. Is the main issue.
Yes,
but it is a really solid control strategy in the format.
Yeah, with Crystal Beast going into almost any of these matchups, you never feel like, oh, I'm guaranteed to lose as soon as you see what your opponent's on, right? You always feel like you have a chance if you draw, you know, the Conclaves at the right time, if you draw your Raigekis, if you're able to get enough damage on board at the right time, then clear your opponent's board and kind of win the game. And then you can also have a lot of versatility in your side deck too. So Crystal Beast definitely, and that's exactly what it is, right? The deck is very flexible in its ability to out your opponent's monsters. So that's really kind of what pushes it to Rogue, I think.
Yeah, another thing I want to say too, I think what kind of keeps it in Rogue too, like heavily, is the fact that Spellproof Armor is actually meta relevant this format.
Yeah.
Because one Jinzo and this deck just loses, right?
Yep. It does. We need some crystal spell cards, crystal quick play spells. I don't know if any of the new cards are that, but maybe they will be.
I don't know.
I don't know either. I haven't looked at the new Crystal Beast cards. Okay, I don't follow advanced format.
But let's continue the copium, Terramaster.
Oh yeah, we're going 3 cope in a row, triple cope. And this was not
copium.
something. When I was planning this video initially, I did not have this here. But then we had Toxic Legacy 3. And this Volcopic made it all the way to the finals. And like, all right, I guess it's got to be here. And
not only did it make it all the way to the finals, but actually almost won the finals.
Yeah, actually took a game, and game 3 was kind of close.
It was.
Yeah, the Toxic Legacy 3 top cut bracket VOD is also right here on Team JDG. So go to that. Actually, you know what? I'm a nice guy. I'll put it in the cards. All right.
Cards.
Exactly. So here's Volcanic. I'm going to put it ahead of Crystal Beast because it does have that representation. Does have the top cut 1 representation. So there you go.
And just so everyone is well aware, this is not Doomfire Volcanics. I'm very sorry.
No, this is TP Volcanics or whatever it is that you're on, which I won't spoil because that tournament is ongoing.
No spoilers, but yeah, it's not Doomfire. If it's a Doomfire variant, it's it's not a good variant.
No, it's not. If
It's fun.
It is fun, and unfortunately, we don't get to have fun in speed duels right now.
No, not in speed duels. Not in
No,
speed
in
duels.
Speed duels. You don't get to have fun. You have fun. You know what happens when you have fun? You get parasited, clown. All right.
But yeah, just to talk about Volcanic for a hot second.
Yeah.
It loses to Moth.
Yep.
It loses to Spellproof.
Yep.
It loses to Burn.
Yep. Well, TP Volcanic might actually have a small chance against Burn. I don't know.
It has a small chance.
I think the
but
Burn
you're
matchup
also
is
burning
better.
yourself inherently.
That's right, you are. You're helping them. Every shell effect is
Yeah.
actually, they're like, cool, thank you.
And you remove your own battle phase so consistently that
Yes.
like
Yes.
you lose the Burn matchup.
It loses to CAs, it loses to Dragoon. How is this here?
You can definitely get lucky, and you definitely have some decent plussing mechanics and good removal, and you just kind of hope that that's enough.
Yeah.
You kind of cope.
You kind of cope that that's enough. All right, we have our final deck here. And this deck is only here for the matchups it presents. Now, I know we talked about, and this is tier 2, but where in tier 2 are you putting it?
I would put it above Spellproof Armor,
I would too.
but below Burn.
Yes. And let's talk about the matchups I mentioned. All right, so it actually has a chance to beat Moth because its survivability with Unions is really good. And then it actually counterplays really hard and wins the late game despite the half of greed. It does very well against Burn because your boss monster just destroys all their continuous traps, which is really important. It does very well against Spellproof because, again, it's actually one of the few decks that can consistently make a monster that can pop Jinzo or is just bigger than Jinzo, you know, both.
Yeah. And well, the only way that Spellproof has like a decent counter to it is usually, well, being on Shockwave to stop the scramble. But once again, a lot of the builds aren't on Shockwave right now.
Yeah, so there's that. Yep. And it's actually surprisingly not bad against CAs as well, especially once you're able to side deck the Mind Crushes. But even before that, Book of Moon is actually surprisingly a really good card, even though Izana makes it seem like it's not, it still is. Like, so what if they destroy a card? You can still YZ and get rid of her next turn.
Yeah, CAs is probably one of the lesser matchups that we've gone through so far for the deck, but still far from an unwinnable matchup by any means.
Now, it does have a problem with Dragoon, but like one bad matchup in an entire tier list is not a problem. So.
Yeah, and just while we're on Dragoon here, another reason why Dragoon can't move up in the tier list, because if Unions is good, people are on Defusion, which means Dragoon is inherently countered because another deck is good.
Exactly. Yep.
So
yeah, so nothing you can do about that. I know XYZ might have some trouble with Crystal Bees, but like, I mean, Crystal Bees, like we said, maybe one person plays it per tournament. So that's not really anything a Union player would have to worry about. So
no, exactly.
So yeah, guys, this is it. Look how much changed. Look at these. Look at the top 4 decks. Look, they're so new, right?
I know. I was thinking about that right before the video. I was like, why are all the new decks tier 3 and below?
All the GX stuff is down here. But all the Battle City stuff is up here, and Trials of the Kingdom.
The only GX card that's in tier 2 is Cyber Dragon, and the deck maybe plays 2. Yep.
But hey, at least the top 2 decks are on Warrior Lady. Smile.
Smile.
So yeah, guys, it's not a lot of GX. We're not actually in GX yet. Hopefully, we actually enter the GX here in October. Thanks delays.
Copium.
Yeah, huge copium. But yeah, that's all we got for you here today. So that's the tier list. So you go into the big tournaments and you wanna play to win. Then play one of the decks in the top half here. Yeah, play Moth, honestly.
Can we just talk about, just real quickly before we end this off, I really just want to say, tier 1 Moth, it's become a little bit less brain dead with erratas. It's still brain dead Moth. Tier 2, Burn is brain dead. Spellproof is brain dead. The only top deck that you need to like think is Unions. Just thought that was funny.
It is. Yeah. No. It's the only skill intensive deck that's in the upper half of the tier list, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing you can do about that. So guys, I'm playing Unions if I ever play to win, but let me know what you guys think. Is there something we missed? Is there something that we're absolutely wrong on, and you're gonna prove us wrong by winning this Win-A-Box with Plasma Turbo? I don't know.
Guys, if you think we're wrong, you should definitely rant about it in the comments.
Absolutely. Go ahead. Tell us.
Leave lots of comments.
Leave lots of comments. Tell us exactly how wrong we are. But,
yes, please.
Until the next video. By the way, congratulations on me having uploaded a video that's not a VOD from Twitch. So until the next time, whether it's a VOD or not, Terramaster and Curseof, out.
Peace.